Hello everybody, and welcome to the 1000 sub Q&A video. Thanks to everybody who asked questions. I've had the answers to your questions recorded for quite a bit, but unfortunately I just didn't get it edited because I was a bit stressed out. My mom and the rest of my close family thought that my mom might have had cancer in the roof of her mouth. Luckily it didn't turn out to be that way, so that's a huge relief. Once again, thanks to everybody who asked questions, but let's jump right in. Here we go, let's jump into the first one. So Daglessandfriends, a fellow Let's Player friend of mine, or I guess he stopped Let's Playing now, which is kind of unfortunate, but he streams over to twitch.tv/drivenotfound. There you go, little self-plug for you there. He asks, "Know you?" That's a very insightful comment, Dagless. I'm gonna have to take some time to think of that question there. Alright, moving on. So Bread Teleporter, he asks me, what kind of music do you listen to? So I'm not really that much of a music person, I never have been, so I don't go out of my way too much to listen to new music and stuff like that. Generally, if I have a CD or something, I'll just put on that CD if I want to listen to something. Now I have a music library on my PC, but back when I was younger, I pretty much only had one CD, and it was Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory, and I listened to that during middle school just constantly. That's all I had on when I wanted to listen to music, and it had In the End and Crawling in My Skin, all those fucking amazing songs, and I do enjoy them a little bit still, but I can't listen to them without cringing a little bit inside now and reminding me of back then. But eventually I went over to a friend's house, and he had more music CDs than me because he cared more about music, and he let me rip a couple of his CDs onto my Xbox because you could just rip them onto your Xbox and play them whenever you want. It was a pretty awesome feature to have back then. And he let me install Puddle of Mud on there, some Nirvana, Green Day's Dookie album. It was great, and I listened to those guys a shit ton while playing games, just all the time, and I just listened to them. But those bands are pretty good. I think I enjoyed Green Day's older stuff. Everything after American Idiot, and a lot of the stuff on American Idiot, I don't hate, but I'd prefer their old stuff, like the songs on Dookie or something like that. Those are great. Or Enema of the State for Blink-182. I do really enjoy Red Hot Chili Peppers, though. That's a good band. But I do prefer their slower and more harmonic songs, like Slow Cheetah and Stadium Arcadium and stuff like that, as to, like, Can't Stop or something like that. They're not bad songs, it's just I prefer the slower paced ones. So who did I mention already? Did I mention Papa Roach? I don't know. I don't listen to too many bands, and I also just don't generally try to go out there and look for new bands to listen to. Bowling for Soup, that's another one that I enjoy listening to sometimes. Cage the Elephant, that's a good one. Puddle of Mud is a lot like Nirvana's style, and some would even say that's pretty much exactly what they were trying to go for, but I think they do it pretty well. I'll listen to basically any music that isn't most rap or most songs in the genres by people like Katy Perry or Beyonce, because that's what one of my sisters listens to, and she blasts that shit so much, I just can't listen to it anymore because of that. I sort of got a lot of my music taste, I think, from my eldest sister, though. So, there's the answer to that. Thank you for your question. Rachel Mason asked, I will say I came from Cryotic for Underhell. I really enjoyed your playthroughs. You were very thorough and explored everything, which I personally appreciated. I hope to see more videos from you. I appreciate the kind words, and see you around the channel. Mad Toast 31 asked, you can have my oh. That's not a question. That's... Guck Foogle asked, can I ask 2 questions? Well, I don't know. I don't see any other questions from you here, but maybe they'll be in the future. PyroWaffles said, how many chapters do you think will be in the finished product of Underhell? Well, interestingly enough, I went back to my videos on the final episode because I wanted to see how cringeworthy they would be, and I was looking at that shed place with the achievements, where you get the achievements and, like, the items appear on the bookshelf and, you know, make you feel good about the stuff that you did. You can remember Ben, Terry, and all those people. And there's actually about 6 bookshelves. So I'm guessing there's one for the prologue, chapter 1, chapter 2, and so on and so forth. But God only knows how long it's going to take for that to be finished. We'll have to see. I'm hoping for at least... Well, I just want to see chapter 2. That's basically all I'm saying. That'll be fantastic. And Alan Raymond replied to PyroWaffles saying, I think back then, when Underhell was still in the prologue state, the creator only said 2, but that was like 5 years ago, so I can't really validate it. There you go. Never know with that sort of thing. Maybe he just wants to push it out there. Finally get Underhell finished up. And Trixie Lullamoons asked, why are you such a fuckboy? Oh, that's a very good question. That's a very good question, Bessie. And then TheScentofSunflowers said, you won't disappoint me if I asked a question. I'll disprove you right here. I'm not going to answer or reply to that, and I'll just leave you disappointed. There you go. Borok321 said, will you play Dark Souls 3? Well, to do that, unfortunately, I would have to play through Dark Souls 1 and 2, because that's just the way I like to do things. Although I didn't really do that with Dead Space 3, but that's because, you know, that was a co-op game. Although I have been considering streaming Dark Souls, I just don't know if putting them up on YouTube would be the best thing to do. I'll have to see how that turns out, but I got very close to beating Dark Souls 1. Never got through it, though. Beat Orstein and Schmo, and then I just sort of stopped, so we'll see. No promises, though. Private Buttkiss said, oh, perfect. I had a logic problem on my homework that I've been needing help with, and you are the expert on this field. So, how many cats could a cat if a cat could cats? I think I messed that up there, but let's see how many cats it is. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be about cats 7. Cats to the 7th power. So there you go, Buttkiss. Hopefully that helps you with your college test there. Georgia122133 said, I really enjoy your playthroughs on Underhell. Can't wait to check out your other playthroughs. So happy I found you through Cry. Well, thank you. And welcome to the channel. Alan Raymond said, so, I'm new to this channel. Yes, I came from Cry, and I'm confused about your content. Is it primarily indie title, new AAAs, or just for fun? I'm sorry if this question isn't that important, but I feel I have to ask it. No problem at all. Any question that you have about that's basically the point of the Q&A, to try to figure out more about my channel and myself as well. So I don't really have a sort of set genre for my channel. Mostly it's just whatever I feel like playing at the time, although a staple of my channel seems to have turned into Half-Life 2 mods, and also Payday 2 as well. Otherwise it's basically just any other games that I've played, and I thought this would be a fantastic game to record. I would love to get this as a Let's Play up on my channel, or something like that. So to answer your question, it's not really primarily indie or new AAAs, it's just for fun. There you go. I guess that's the staple answer to your question. In fact, it shows something about that in my About page, too. I mostly do videos on random Half-Life 2 mods and Payday 2, otherwise I just record whatever I feel like playing at the time. But thank you for your question, Alan. Moving on to TGGamesmaster. He said, do you play the guitar or any other musical instrument, / do you plan on doing a Cry of Fear Let's Play? To answer your second part real quick, I already have done a Cry of Fear co-op Let's Play with Relicti. I'll link that right now in an annotation or somewhere, even down in the description below. You can check that out. It's done on the co-op multiplayer part of the mods, which isn't very great. Although I have looked into the Cry of Fear single-player stuff, and that looks a lot better than the co-op stuff, I gotta say. But yeah, I've considered it. It's just, there's a couple other Half-Life 2 mods that I saw that would also be interesting. And I try to stay away from Half-Life 2 mods that I see other people doing a shit ton of on YouTube. It's not really because I wouldn't get as many search rankings up on that, it's just because I want to do something a little bit more original, and that's pretty hilarious, saying that about doing a Let's Play. It's just, you know, I don't know, I feel a bit weird about doing that when somebody's already done it. And do I play the guitar or any other musical instrument? No. Although, back in middle school, I was gonna try to be part of a band with a couple friends of mine. I was trying to learn the drums, although I never got around to buying a drum set. Now, I'm sure even if I did buy a drum set, I would never have any sort of motivation to learn it, though, so kind of glad I didn't end up getting my mom to waste money on that. I had a tiny acoustic guitar, and I think my friend smashed it for some reason. I don't remember what happened to it. In fact, my friend actually learned his original guitar skills on the shitty little acoustic guitar, so that was pretty great. Yeah, I've never been very musically talented. I also, in middle school, I was in band class, and I had a instrument that was kind of like a tiny tuba. I can never remember its name, though. It starts with an E or something. Tried looking it up on Google, I can't figure out what it was. It was something like a euphone or something. I don't remember entirely, but it was pretty dumb. At least with a tuba, you're a person that plays a tuba, right? So it was like a stupid tuba. So Mes Gots Its says, "Oh, Cry linked you in his Let's Play? That's awesome. Congrats on the viewership boost. Thank you. Since so much of your content is Half-Life 2 mods, I've been curious. When did you first play Half-Life 2? The first time I played Half-Life 2 was through the Orange Box. I went to GameStop, I remember, and I asked the people there, like the people who managed the store, about first-person shooters that they thought would be pretty good. So they recommended me the Orange Box, because it came with 2 of them, for God's sakes, and that's also how I originally found Portal, which was pretty great. And that game is pretty good. If you haven't played it before, you should probably check that out. In fact, you should do that right now. Stop watching the video, go play that game. That'll be great. But yeah, that's pretty much the first time that I can remember playing Half-Life 2. The first time I beat Half-Life 2 was over at my cousin's house, because I didn't have anything else to do. And that final part of Half-Life 2 Chapter 2 was ridiculously hard. It's pretty much the first time. I think I played Half-Life 2 originally about a year before that, but I never beat it, because I just stopped. And he also asks, "Oh, and what shows were you a fan of when you were growing up?" When I was growing up, as a very, very small child, I remember watching Barney the Dinosaur, that creepy-ass purple dinosaur that walked around. I also remember watching Bananas in Pajamas. That is a fucked up show to watch. I love that theme song, though. It's great. Bananas in pajamas, coming down the stairs. Bananas in pajamas. Other than that, I guess, you know, Teletubbies. Of course, Scooby-Doo, that's a fantastic show as well. I really feel like there's a good chunk of my childhood where I just didn't do anything except for maybe play outside and stuff, which I feel like kind of, you know, it was probably more healthy than just sitting around watching TV, but I feel like that would have had a more lasting impression on my childhood. How did I forget about Adult Swim? When I was growing up, basically every night before school, I would sit up and watch Futurama and Family Guy. Those were fantastic TV shows. But of course, that's pretty much all I could catch is Futurama and Family Guy. And that's basically all I remember of Adult Swim, other than the animations or animes that they would have on there of Inuyasha and stuff like that. But I never really got into those, to be honest. Oh, The Twilight Zone was great, too. I love that show. I remember the Sci-Fi Channel was running a marathon of it, and they did that about once a year or something like that. That was a really awesome time. So here's a recommendation for people who enjoyed The Twilight Zone. You should check out either the newer series, which isn't very great, but it does definitely have some gems in it, or you should also check out The Outer Limits. That's also an amazing show in the same vein as The Twilight Zone. Courage the Cowardly Dog Show, that was a great show. And My Name is Earl, that's another one that I can think of. Right now I'm just trying to browse through Netflix to try to get memories of shows that I can think of from back then. The Powerpuff Girls, that was a pretty great show. I know that's not probably exactly my demographic, but back then when my sister wanted to watch it, I would totally sit down and watch it too. And I'm sure there's other ones out there, but I can't really remember them exactly. We got Netflix at some point in my early high school years, and then I just started watching a crap ton of Lost and Jericho, stuff like that. Recently I've been seeing Black Mirror. That's a damn good show, and also Darknet. Those are fantastic, fantastic shows. Check them out. But hopefully I answered your question, Mes. I remember Mes being there when I was originally doing my Chapter 1 Let's Play of Underhell, so that was pretty sweet. See you around the channel. Glyphis says, "Hey Cube, how have you been? I've been doing just fine. When do you want to play more Civ 5? See, I've got this weird thing about Civ 5. I do enjoy playing the game a lot, especially in single player. It's just the multiplayer component of it sort of makes me hate the game. It's just that you go on for so long. Especially, like, even with the fast turns, the game takes forever. And then at some point, you know either you're screwed, or you've screwed over the other people, and you're for sure gonna win. And that happens, like, you know what's gonna happen before the game ends, like 100 turns before the game ends, or something like that. Hope I'm not explaining this terribly, but I think I got my point across there. Just a slow grind to death at that point. But hey, I would totally be down for another match or two of the game. That sounds like a lot of fun. Dagless and I and Clements might play some of it at some point in the future, but they're playing that naval action game, so I have no idea when that's gonna be. And then Guck Foogle said, when will you do 1,000 subscribers special Ironclads walkthrough? Also, tell me a funny. I'll answer the first part of that first. 1,000 subscribers special Ironclads walkthrough. That right there is a joke within itself. Ron. Yeah, that's Ron. Guck Foogle is Ron. Or at least I'm pretty sure. I hope I'm not getting that messed up. Pretty bad with names and faces, especially in real life. Mostly in real life, actually. And also, tell me a funny. Alright, ignore me while I look up jokes on the internet to try to act like I'm funny. Oh, what is this? A funny. Alright, here we go. Here's a funny. Why did the forgetful chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. No, to go shopping. No, not that either. Damn it. That was terrible. I'm gonna cut this out. DrizzyPuffs said, what made you start YouTube? Overall goals here? Any upcoming games you're excited for? Also, any other hobbies? In my 100 sub Q&A video, I was asked a question that was similar to this, that asked, who was my inspiration on YouTube, or something like that. And I think the answer is going to be about the same. What made me start YouTube was that I had a lot of free time, and I saw other Let's Players that were doing this, and I thought, you know, I could probably do that, and I think it would be fun. It would be one hell of a time filler, and I could interact with more people. Of course, I was also hanging out with people like Cross Knights and Relicti and Dagless, who were already Let's Playing, so they sort of motivated me to, you know, they're like, hey, start a Let's Play. That could be very fun. And I saw them interacting with people as well, and I was like, you know, this could be fun. And that's sort of what made me start YouTube. Otherwise, I would have probably gone insane if I hadn't started a YouTube channel. Insane out of boredom, probably more than anything, to be honest. What are my overall goals on YouTube? I honestly don't know. I guess my main goal is to try to add something to the Let's Plays that I do. Try to introduce games to people and new audiences and stuff like that. Also to interact with you guys. Maybe at some point in the future, it could be some sort of source of income. I just don't feel like at this point there's really any point to monetizing my channel. I don't think having ads on the videos would be worth like the $50 I would get every 6 months or something like that. Doesn't really seem that beneficial to either me or the viewers, you know. And then there's also just the general goals that every YouTuber has. Try to grow their channel up a bit. Try to, you know, interact with the viewers as well. Although at some point there's probably going to be a peak where interacting with the viewers just gets too impossible because there's too many of them. I don't think I'll reach that point at any time soon though, so I don't have to worry about that. Touching back on that whole thing of trying to add something to the Let's Plays that I do on this channel, I thought about that originally about a year ago because I started watching a YouTuber called Slowbeef, who, if you don't know, Slowbeef could be credited with doing the first video Let's Play ever. And he has a philosophy of, like, you know, most Let's Plays are shit, and, I mean, I can definitely see where he's coming from in that respect. He really made me try to start thinking about adding something to the Let's Plays. Would I take away from this Let's Play? I mean, from this video game, if I started posting it on YouTube and stuff like that, which is why I try to avoid most narrative-driven games, like Telltale, of course. I would have never started streaming Telltale's Tales from the Borderlands if it hadn't been gifted to me by a viewer. Unfortunately, those streams got muted, and that really sucks. Yeah, I sort of went on a tangent there, but hopefully I got my point across. Any upcoming games that I'm excited for? I recently got to check out the game Battleborn, and I saw Told Biscuit's video on that, but that game looks pretty great. It's an open beta right now, depending on when I get this video up. Until the 18th is when it should be an open beta. Hopefully, you guys will be able to check that out. It's a great game, actually. It's like Borderlands because it's made from the same people, but without the stupid, shitty bullet sponge enemies, which is one of the things that I hated the most about that game. It has a crap ton of different characters who all have their special abilities, kind of like in Borderlands, except there's so many of them, and the humor is pretty good too. I love it. The problem is it's $60, and I don't have a very good video card, so it sort of chugs on my system. Really, these days, I can't really think of games that are coming up in the future that I'm excited for, because there's so many good games out there right now, and sort of hard to see the good new games through the weight of shitty new games, if you know what I mean, especially in Steam. Like, you go to the upcoming section, the new releases and stuff like that, it's just flooded with terrible stuff. Absolutely god-awful stuff. It's sort of depressing to see Steam just fall so low. But yeah, there's also the early access stuff, I guess you could say, that I'm excited for. I'm kind of excited for Starbound to be released. Of course, Project Zomboid, that is a fantastic game. Killing Floor 2, can't wait for that game to be released fully, although that's probably going to take 14 years. Terraria Otherworld, the Terraria 2 sort of game, that's being released at some point in the future. That sounds pretty good. The Walking Dead Michonne, the new Telltale sort of spin-off of the Walking Dead games. I've always loved the Walking Dead Telltale games. They've been fantastic pieces of work, and I would love to see how that game is. But I've got to wait till it's finished so I can binge on it, of course. That's what you gotta do. Any VR stuff, if I could ever get my hands on a PC that would be powerful enough to power VR and then get a VR system, I would just play any VR game that I could get my hands on. Any of them. That would be amazing. I really want VR so badly. But yeah, like I said before, there's just so many good games out there right now. I don't really think too much about upcoming games. Hopefully Portal 3 gets released at some point, but I don't know. Any other hobbies? I like to take walks sometimes. That's it. I'm quite a boring person, to be honest. I dabble in graphic design sometimes with waiting queue backgrounds. I don't know, I make my thumbnails. Could that count as a hobby as well? I'm not sure. I've been interested in learning some sort of practical application, maybe like engineering, maybe welding or something like that, because, you know, even if a sort of depression hits for the economy, welders and engineers are probably always going to be needed, no matter what, and electricians and stuff like that. It's just a very safe sort of profession to land in, and I would be interested in picking up a hobby that involves that sort of area of expertise, just so I can have a safety blanket, I guess. That's pretty much all I can think of. Yeah, like I said before, pretty boring person. But thank you for your question. Moving on, MaikeisaurRAWR said, came from Okai's channel for Underhell, but actually really enjoyed your playthrough and subscribed. Can't wait to see more of your videos. Well, thank you. Welcome to the channel. I'll see you around. British Boss asks, so questions, what could I possibly ask you? How about this? Did you know that apparently a kitty named Stubbs has been mayor of Talkeetna, Alaska for 15 years? Not sure how accurate that is, but it just goes to show that it's finally happening. Cats are officially starting to conquer the earth, Kenny. Who's Kenny? That's so weird. What say you? Will you join their quest and serve under their dominion, or will you rebel? Of course I won't rebel. You don't even have to ask that, boss. You know. I'll totally serve under their dominion. In fact, I'll try to convince you people to move to Alaska, just so cats can rule over you. Bread Teleporter asked a second question here. He said, I'm allergic to cats. How hard are your scientists working on finding a cure for this? Oh god, they're working around the clock. Back in Alaska, they have a research lab set up in Alaska, in that town that the cat Stubbs is over. They're trying to find a cure for that, because all the people who come there just die, you know, from the cat allergies. Anyway, ANN1 Electro said, what's your upload schedule? Well, you can find a short, simple answer on my About page of my YouTube channel. It says, upload schedule, I attempt to upload at least one new video every other day. And that's basically the very small, compact answer to that. The bigger answer, and hopefully I can explain this well, is you can think of it as like a 4-day block. So we have day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. On day 1, I try to upload a video on there, whether it be, take for instance the current Let's Plays I have going up on my channel are Star Wars KOTOR and 1187. Those can be the two main Let's Plays, so I'll put 1187 in block number 1, and then block number 2 is blank, and then block number 3 would be my KOTOR Let's Plays. So that's basically day 1, 1187, day 2 blank, day 3 KOTOR, and then day 4 blank, and then it rotates back to 1, and it goes like that. And I try to maintain that schedule, although that hasn't really been happening in the past couple of months because, you know, that's just the way life goes. And I try to fill block 2 and 4 with random videos that I have to upload. Take, for instance, Killing Floor 2 or something. For the most part, I try to maintain that sort of 4-block schedule. But that was a very good question, very practical question as well, and hopefully I explained it well. MrsB said, I also came from Cry and I really enjoyed your Underhell playthrough. That's why I subscribed to you. Last time I was here, you had less than 1,000 subs, and now, wish you luck. You deserve many subs. Thank you, MrsB, and thank you to everybody who got me over 1,000 subs. That's why I'm doing this video. Adam Clements said, wow, Cube, your channel is growing pretty quick now. Congrats. When you're a famous YouTube star, don't forget about us, who carried you through payday. Thanks, Adam. I definitely won't forget about you. And Ron, and I'm definitely not forgetting anybody else. Kai. My question is, your fan group mainly knows you as Companion Cube. Sometimes people call you Kenny, though that's obviously not your name. Exactly. Would you want people to know more about your personal life and maybe be recognized by your viewers in person? Or would you rather be like Cross and just never show your face to the world? So I've been thinking about that and any sort of, air quotes, repercussions that can have on my real life. I know YouTubers that are at least like 500,000 subscribers, and they never get recognized in their life, which I feel like that would apply to me. Even if I did show my face to you guys, I wouldn't really ever get recognized, even if I was at like 1 million subs. I don't really go out much except for random walks. I'm a very awkward person in person, so around strangers that can be a bit... It would probably just scare them off, to be honest. Now, I don't really have anything against showing my face to you guys. I just really would rather not be the one to actively put my face out there, if you know what I mean by that. I would rather not have it out on the internet. If it did get leaked, I would be like, that happened. It's the internet. Although I'm sure if I got bigger, somebody would find my face and link it out there. How about this? When Cross gets to 500,000 subscribers, I'll show my face, just like he plans on doing. There you go. That's my thing for showing my face to you guys. You gotta get Cross to 500,000 subscribers. And the last person to ask me... Oh my god, how many questions is this? That's 1, 2, 3, 4... 16 questions? No, 18, 19, 20. There we go. 20 questions asked by Borgis Pliskin. I guess I should answer all these. He has a JPEG attached as well. What does this say? Dagless McChicken at 1221 said, test meow. Okay. Well, that's a thing. That's a really random screenshot. Thank you for that. So, hold on. I'm going to take a drink before I start this. The first question is, when are you going to stream Deadly Premonition? Oh my. You must be from the stream then. Who are you? Who could you be, Borgis Pliskin? When will I start Deadly Premonition? If you guys don't know, that's a random game that I've been talking about on Twitch, and I've said I was going to stream it, but then I got the idea to watch all of Twin Peaks instead, right before I streamed Deadly Premonition, so haven't gone around to doing that just yet. Once again, I've really got to finish Twin Peaks Season 2, just so I can play Deadly Premonition. I want to see the comparisons between those. But yeah, after I finish watching Twin Peaks Season 2, then I'll definitely stream Deadly Premonition. Second question, if you gained the power of meow, what would you do? Well, of course I would just meow everybody to death. Or force them over to Alaska to serve Stubbs the cat. What type of meow would it be? Royal high-pitched with British accent, or purrish grumpy? I think royal high-pitched with British accent sounds amazing, but I feel like I would annoy the shit out of myself, so how about just British accent? That sounds pretty good. Would I use it for good or evil? Well, it depends on your perspective of evil and good. Do you consider it good or evil to force people over to Alaska to be subservient to Stubbs the mayor cat? I would consider that a good thing for humanity overall, but you might consider it evil. Would you help a homeless person in need? Now, it depends on the situation. If a homeless person was sitting there fighting off a pack of 1,000 rabid zombies who were moving extremely fast, it probably would just turn tail and haul ass, because he's probably going to die anyway. If he was asking for like a couple dollars, I would probably give it to him if I had it. Will you cure the world's deadliest diseases? Not unless I start concentrating hardcore on the sciences, which I have no intention to do, because science is Not my greatest subject. Although it is pretty interesting. I do enjoy it. I don't know, maybe I'll just stumble on the cure for AIDS or something like that. You never know. Will you show every human being the path to inner peace in order to save humanity from a materialistic world? Nope. Without asking for anything in return? Oh boy. Nope. There you go. Or will you use it to crush your enemies, to see them driven before you and hear the lamentations of their woman? To make every night party night? To have... Son of a bitch. To have all the cats in the world? To take Twitch Drive Not Found channel for myself? For self-enrichment? To force everyone to watch YouTube videos and to make myself the most famous YouTuber? To be able to shit on Dagless 24/7? To make us whole again? I think I'll use it for self-enrichment. Probably to take the Drive Not Found channel all for myself, and then in that process, streams would only happen probably once a month. And all the cats in the world, of course. I would get a bunch of cat mansions. Every night party night sounds terrible. No night is party night, especially not Friday night. And I don't know if I want to be the most famous YouTuber. PewDiePie is probably going crazy with the amount of people he ends up seeing. I wonder how many times he gets noticed in a day if he goes out. Can I win in a fist fight against Cross, Dagless, Private Buttkiss, Taz, Yoshi, or Relicti? You know, I'm not entirely sure. I've seen Cross and Dagless and Buttkiss and Taz and Yoshi and wow, I've seen everybody. I know what their faces look like. I think I know what their body type is. I'm 6'4", and I weigh about 185 pounds. Could I take on Cross? I'm not entirely sure. Dagless? Maybe. Buttkiss? I don't think so. Taz, maybe. He's younger than me, so maybe I have an up on that. Yoshi? Maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Or Relic? Maybe. There's definitely not concrete answers for that. But I'm not very good in a fist fight. And I'm not really sure if anybody else in that group has been in a fist fight. I think Dagless has. And Cross might have. But I don't know about anybody else. So my answer is probably not Buttkiss, and all the other people, maybe. In your previous Q&A video, you played on the map that looked like a swastika. Was it intentional? I don't know. That's, I need to go back and watch that right now, just to see. Hold on. You know, that kind of does look like a swastika now that you say about it. That's a bit creepy. Although that is my favorite map on that game. It's pretty good, gotta say. And no, that was not intentional. Or was it? And the final question to this Q&A. Do I like fanfiction, Mr. Cube? Oh, I love fanfiction. It's great. There's a person called Zaresto who used to watch our streams back when we like first started the podcast or something like that. And he wrote us some amazing fanfiction. In fact, if you go to Dagless's Steam profile and you go into his information part that he has up on there, he actually has a fanfiction written by Zaresto. He also wrote about the Octopus Rift that had a gif of Obama with his tongue out. It was great, and if I can find any of those, I'll definitely link them in the description below. Here's a quick excerpt from one of his things. He awoke to find himself on the mattress, covered in the fluid he had observed before. Although he was numb all over, and there was a ringing in his ears, he proceeded to examine the fluid. It was gack, blended with Faygo. He concluded this by taking a large gulp, enjoying how the sticky juice ran down his throat. Looking around, he noticed two more figures, dressed in all black. The only distinguishing features being their masks. They wore cartoony old lady masks, reminding Cross of his childhood, but not in a good way. They jumped on him and began to violate Cross, massaging his body. In the end, they left him feeling sore all over, taking off their masks only when they were content that they had their share. The two men were Companion and Buttkiss. It's great. I love it. Any fanfiction that you guys got, it could also not be, you know, vaguely erotic or, you know, straight up erotic. Something like that. Any sort of fanfiction is great. And I just love anything created by the viewers. It's great. We have a Drive Not Found Boru, actually, where you guys can post any of your fan art. There's already some fan art on there by amazing people. It blows my mind that there's any sort of art like that. But if you guys want to see any of the amazing creations up on the Drive Not Found Boru, or if you guys would like to add something to the Boru and have us see it, then I'll link it down in the description below. Definitely check it out. It's awesome. Alright, so that's gonna do it for the 1000 sub Q&A. Thanks to everybody who asked questions yet again. And I don't know when I'll do another one of these. Maybe I won't do the next one on a milestone, but we'll have to see how that turns out. I'm gonna go edit this. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Goodbye. Oh god, I'm so dead. Jukes! I should have just left. Can I do anything? Oh shit! 20 seconds left. Oh, that's a dead end. Shit. Oh, there's something over here. Buttkiss. I have 10 seconds left to get 824 miles.